Boom, shakalaka boom. You tuned in to the Free Range Human Show of Choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This, my friends, is the Clay Edwards Show. I am, of course, Clay Edwards. The man sitting across from me in orange, or to my left if you're watching on video, is the one, the only, the host of The Full Story, Mr. Matt Bishop. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. Good to be back.
Yeah, glad to have you, man. I appreciate you taking my text last night and agreeing to do this morning.
Crazy time.
It is, man.
I mean, it's crazy.
Hey, look, you know, and I think a sign of a good host is somebody who understands his level of knowledge on stuff.
Of course.
And the ability to, say, reach out across the aisle, so to say, and say, hey, I need some help with this because I know my audience is going to want to talk about it.
Of course.
And I know you're a little more ingrained in what's going on in Washington, D.C., having lived there and done the thing, been a JAG officer and a JAG prosecutor.
Lived in the swamp, worked in the swamp.
Exactly. So you got a good knowledge of how the swamp works.
Exactly.
So these appointments, setting the swamp on fire. Yesterday, I said, dude, as far as like people I have access to, you were the guy that was on the top of my list. So I did as much basic research last night as I could. I've been a Matt Gaetz fan for a while. Yeah. And I was telling you the story. Maybe I hadn't told you this yet. I was talking to my buddy Corey on the way in this morning. I said, man, I laid down yesterday. I ate lunch and I had plans to go do some things, and like a wave of exhaustion hit me. It's like my body said, you ain't doing nothing, Hoss. Yeah. I laid down and was going to, okay, I'll take an hour nap. I woke up 3 hours later. It was 4 o'clock.
Who among us hasn't done that?
I woke up at 4 o'clock. I said, I look at my phone and I had a weird dream. I won't get into that, but I had a really weird dream, something I knew that wasn't real. And then I look at my phone and I see Matt Gaetz has been named the Attorney General. Yeah. And I was like, I'm still asleep. Right. I'm like, this isn't real. No. This is like.
That's like Alex Jones we just talked before thing. We were just talking about that. It's like, it's almost to the level of Alex Jones being press secretary. That little, funny news story.
Yeah, because I sent that to him last week because Alex Jones announced that he had accepted. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is a joke, but if it's not, because I had joked with you a while back, it's like, I would like to see Alex Jones as the press secretary. And then, boom, Alex Jones announces he's going to be the press secretary, which that is not official. I don't think that's going to happen. No. I think it's going to be Trump's lawyer. Right. But she's a smoke show. Oh. And so we're going to go from the first gay black vagina, her words, not mine.
That's right.
Back to a smoke show like Kaylee McElhaney. Yeah. And it's Elena Haba. Is that her name?
Yeah, that's correct.
Elena Haba. Oh, we Haba.
Yeah. And, who'd have that on your defense team, during the thing. It doesn't hurt to have that.
No. Look, man, at the end of the day, Americans like pretty people. Yeah. Chicks, regardless if they're attractive or not, they like good-looking guys, whatever they deem to be good-looking. Right. Everybody's taste is different. Guys like attractive females. Frankly, guys look up to other attractive guys.
Yeah. That's why most presidents have been like tall, relatively fit men. If you look through the history, they've all mostly been, even the old days, like in the 1800s, they've all been over 6 feet, relatively fit. It does have an effect. Yeah, don't get me wrong. There's been some, Teddy Roosevelt wasn't exactly. Yeah. We've had Taft, the 330-pound guy gets stuck in the tube. We've had a couple, but on the average, I would say the average president's more attractive than the average male. If you look at it,
I have a theory on this too. I think most people respect people who have discipline, and discipline starts at the plate. Yeah, it's like it starts in the home, right? It starts at the plate too. If you can't control what you put in your mouth, how can I expect you to control anything else? Yeah. And
that's self-discipline, self-discipline. That's what it's about.
And that's not a knock on overweight people at all. I don't want y'all to take that as an insult this morning because I'm that guy too.
Yeah, I mean, you can see us on the. We're not the.
I'm just saying, but when I see a guy who's really, really fit, the first thing is a guy who's tried to pursue that and just never been able to quite get all the way there.
It's not easy.
I get close. I'm like, the Oreos look really good. It is. So I respect the discipline that it takes. Right. When I see these guys who have that discipline, I'm like, that's a guy that could be the leader. He can be my boss. I wouldn't care. Yeah. Because he's obviously makes good, tough decisions.
Exactly.
So kind of getting off course there, but woke up to Matt Gaetz. Thank you. Matt Gaetz went down a rabbit hole there. Matt Gaetz being our presumed attorney general, and of course I go straight to X. Right. I'm like, let's see the blue hairs burning. Yeah. That smoke you see coming from.
That's all the blue hair being caught on fire.
That's all the blue hair around the country burning right now on fire. And So what I'm seeing is, of course, a lot of the senators are coming out and saying, well, I don't know, Republican senators, mind you, I don't think this is going to get confirmed. This ain't going to get confirmed. Well, look, either way, he's going to be your attorney general for the next 2 years, whether it's in a confirmed role or not. Am I understanding that right?
So let's just kind of break that down just a little bit. So you're right? So right now, we have a control of the Senate, but it is still close. So there only needs to be four Republican dissenters in order for him not to get it, which is not a lot. And looking at some of the comments from some of the senators throughout, it doesn't look like that looks to be the case. There's probably going to be at least four that don't like him or would not want to approve of him. But what you're talking about is what they call a recess appointment, and it could happen up to 2 years, depending on when it happens, when the recess is. It could be up to 2 years. It could be a month, right? It depends on when it happens. But here's the interesting thing about Matt Gaetz, I think, is that before Trump would announce his appointment, he would know if he has the votes or not. He has an excellent team. He knows what's going to happen.
And Gaetz didn't just step down from a freshly won seat,
right?
Because he officially stepped down from.
He did officially step down, and that's to me was something very interesting about this, because here's my thing with Gaetz. I think the Republican Party always needed a wake up call. And Gaetz definitely provided that. What I don't like about Gaetz, though, is that at the end of the day, a lot of stuff the Republican Party has gotten pushback for is that they can't get anything done. They just do infighting, what have you. So he's kind of been kind of a wrench in the system at certain points, which again I think sometimes is needed, and sometimes it's not needed, right? And right now, so it was just confirmed today or last night that Republicans will maintain control of the House. They won the seat in Arizona, so they will have control of the House, which means we need to have an efficient operation because we have 2 years to get stuff done. There's a mandate to Donald Trump.
Bull and a China shop for the next 2 years.
Absolutely. We got to get stuff done. And if we don't, there is going to be a blue wave in 2 years. So we don't need people throwing wrenches into it. So I don't know if this is kind of a little bit of a conspiracy, but thinking about political strategy, right? In management, they have this thing where if you want to get rid of someone you can't fire, you promote them. And then they kind of leave. Matt Gaetz.
Car business is like that too.
Exactly. So Matt Gaetz, and Donald Trump is an extremely smart, he's a manager and a smart person. Now Matt Gaetz has been a loyal supporter of Donald Trump. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. And Donald Trump loves people who are loyal to him.
MAGA's been very supportive of Matt Gaetz as well.
Yeah, and I think that's important, right? I think I would surround myself with loyal people, right?
Yeah, when I went to Florida for the first time, to the beach a few months back for the first time in a while, you filled in for me for a couple shows.
Yeah.
And I was coming back through, and I wasn't always really sure what district in Florida Gaetz was even from. I never really paid attention to that. He was from Florida, right?
Right.
I didn't realize it was the Panhandle, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's a redneck.
Brother, I'm going to tell you, I ain't never seen so many signs for one politician throughout an area as I did for Matt Gaetz through the Florida Panhandle from the time you enter Florida from Alabama till we got to where we were going to Okaloosa Island and back.
Yeah,
that's Gaetz country.
It's Gaetz country. He's sort of like he's like the anti-AOC, right? Like these both people that make a lot of news, but their constituents love them, and their dissenters hate them. But like I said, what we need though is we need a house that is. We don't need Johnson needs to go ahead and be in there. We don't need someone even though I have a lot of problems with Johnson. But we need to get this thing smoothly and get stuff working day one, even before day one. So it'd be interesting to me to see if maybe, Donald Trump can keep faith with Matt Gaetz by knowing that he's going to nominate him as Attorney General, knowing he can't get confirmed, which would essentially mean Matt Gaetz, he resigned his House seat, potentially replaced by someone like Laura Trump.
No. Laura Trump's going to replace
the Senator
Rubio.
Right.
That's the
either one, right? Because DeSantis he could put him either way, right?
Yeah.
The talk's been about the Senate.
Yeah, I would like to see her get the Senate seat.
Yeah.
But whatever.
Yeah, but this could happen where it's definitely going to be someone, a really good person to be put in there. So I don't know if Donald Trump did this on purpose, knowing he can't be confirmed. Maybe get him in there for for a recess appointment. Maybe get him there for a little bit. But knowing his confirmation can't be confirmed, just to kind of promote him, but at the same time, get someone who's a distractor out of the way to push an agenda.
So I have a theory.
Yeah.
So the first thing I tweeted yesterday is I know MAGA and the QAnon people love to talk about Trump playing 4D chess.
Yeah. I'm
not really that guy. I'm not QAnon. I make fun of those folks. God bless them, but come on, be real here. That was never my thing. However, I think what Trump did yesterday was a 4D chess move, and because he's had plenty of time to think about this. This was not a knee jerk thing.
Not even.
I think what he did was he's going to force these. I want to make sure I get my quote right because I'm quoting myself here from my Twitter account. Y'all bear with me 1 second because I think this is very, very relevant to this. And I want to make sure I get this right. And I usually don't do this. I'm usually trying to remember stuff off the top of my head. But here we go.
Yeah.
Where did it go?
Essentially, they said 4D chess. I think it's like third level politics.
Here we go. I said Trump playing 4D chess and forcing all the cuck, rhino, lizard people Republicans to come out of their human skin and show them real selves for the world to see. I think that's what this is here. And I think that's what you're going to see in the Senate.
Yeah.
He is going to force them to who's MAGA, who supports the president, and who does not. And I think this is that move that does that. Whether he ever gets confirmed or not, maybe this is a red herring.
Yeah, no, I think that's very. I think what I agree with is that this is definitely next level politics. And I like what you're saying. That he's definitely going to find out where people lie. And that'd be a smart thing. Again, Donald Trump knows what he's doing when it comes to this stuff.
So then you have the ethics committee, which is. Ran and ruled with an iron fist by our very own Michael Gaetz, who I know doesn't like Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
No, has Michael Gaetz told Clay Edwards that? No, but we all know that McCarthy was and Guest are buddies.
Yeah.
I think there's been a personal vendetta against Gaetz by McCarthy and company. Actually, we know there has by McCarthy primaried Gaetz and put all the money behind a candidate in his district to try to get him booted, and Gaetz got 2 million more votes than the previous time.
Right.
And
there's some bad blood, definitely.
Yeah. So I think it's no mistake that what Trump did. Now, what I find interesting is McCarthy is pretty ingrained into Trump's MAGA stuff here. Mm-hmm. He even thanked him.
Yeah.
He's got my Mikey baby or something like that in his acceptance speech. And there was even talk about him being his chief of staff, but McCarthy kind of said no, and that's how the girl has ended up with it. I think it was McCarthy's to turn down.
Yeah,
if the tea leaves I'm reading are correctly, and it's going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out. We need to take a break, but I want to hear from Jerry first. We're going to run over here. Jerry, I was hoping to hear from you this morning, brother. On the Mazda Jackson phone line, we got Jerry.
I'm just in the car a little bit while y'all still in distance. Hey, your description of Republican rhinos, you could just put some names from our Mississippi people around it. We all have their history. We know how they're going to do it. They had a secret vote for the leader of the Senate, and only people that are cowards will vote in secret. Now, granted, Thune was going to win, or Cornyn, one of those two, and those are nothing more than the same status quo. I hope we can get recess appointments. But going back to Matt Gaetz, this is a telltale sign for me that they picked the right person. The lobbyists are saying, who the hell is he and what are they doing? Why? Because they control these people. They'll walk in and tell, like Eric Holder or whoever, when they become the AG, hey, you play along, do what we want, and there's a $15 million board seat for the rest of your life on these companies. They do it with Health and Human Services, so when he puts Bobby Kennedy over Health and Human Services, their heads are going to explode. When he puts Kash Patel over the FBI, more heads are going to explode. And we will have our guys who like war, who like sending money, who like continuing resolutions. Do y'all realize what the continuing resolution does? It allows people like our representatives and senators to spend without a budget. Trivia question. When's the last time we've had a budget? We have had the House of Representatives for how long? A long time?
Yeah.
At certain points. When was the last time we had a budget with 12 spending bills? 2008. the year before Obama came into office. That allows our people just to pile on money for, I don't know, like a Ukraine and, Newcomb Senator, what's his name? The one who wants to nuke everybody?
Wicker.
Yep.
Newcomb, start a nuclear war. That's him. So I love the announcement. And just, hey, look, they'll be the ones that know. But have you ever seen Matt Gaetz in a committee hearing?
Yes, I got some clips for it this morning.
All right, the dude's prepared. You don't walk in and stouted. That's what we need. And the guy that's over, he's going to have over the Department of Defense, guy's brilliant. Why not have a military person and not have? Pull up those pictures of the men in dresses that they had over the Department of Defense and everything else. Oh my God, let's have some X, Y, and Y chromosomes. The way they're supposed to be. But I love it. I hope he can get confirmed. But if not, a recess appointment. If Thune follows through on his word and says he will allow them, I'll take him for 6 months to a year.
Me too. I think you need a bull in a china shop to come in there who can get a few things done, get some interesting investigations done. Jay, I'm gonna hang up, brother. We got a lot of wind noise there.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate you. Yeah, I think even if he's in there for only 6 months or a year or 2 years or whatever, you come in and this is the pit bull you seek on Fannie Willis, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, and whoever else. When we come back, I want to circle back to those names there.
Okay.
And people saying, no, Trump doesn't need to go on a revenge tour because it'll never end if he does. I think that's the wrong way to look at it. Mm-hmm. I think you have to have consequences and repercussions, and we got a lot to go. We got a lot to talk about this morning.
There's some good stuff we have on that.
We got Matt Bishop here in the studio with me. This is the Clay Edwards Show. We'll be right back. People watching online, stay tuned. Don't go nowhere. People on the radio, rip the knob off. Nobody's doing it like we're doing it this morning on WYAB. All right, guys, don't go anywhere. I got to get a few things queued up, so there's not going to be any entertainment during the intermissions this morning. We'll be right back. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here live on WYAB with guest host this morning, Mr. Matt Bishop, host of our 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. hour right here every Monday through Friday, The Full Story with Matt Bishop. Matt gets really, really deep into the national stuff. He doesn't hit very much local stuff. I guess if it's anything worth talking about, he doesn't ignore it. But the national, you would not know you were listening to a little old show out of Florida, Mississippi when you listen to Matt Bishop.
Unless Jackson makes the national news, which they tend to do after. It's not that hard.
They have been this week. Hey, real quick before we jump back in, this segment brought to you by our friends over at, man, I tell you what, the last week, if there was ever a time to get a celebration cigar, it's been the last week. We've had multiple watershed events here to justify lighting up a cigar and celebrating it. And if you're not getting that cigar from Havana Smoke Shop in Jackson or Havana Cigars out on the res, I don't know what you're doing with yourself. They're your premier destination for hand-rolled premium cigars right here in the Jackson metro area. Olivier, Arturo Fuente, Liga Privada, Romeo and Julieta. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. It's got a Y in the middle there, but I'm winging it here. Macanudo, Monte Cristo, and Perdomo cigars, just to name a few. Come by either Havana Smoke Shop right off 55 North on Frontage Road or Havana Cigars on the res, right there at the Spillway, right down from Willie B's, Acme Pizza, and Fannin Mart. That entire shop is in there. Once you get over there, real easy to find. Throw it in your phone. Type in Havana Smoke Shop. Either destination, and your car will take you right where your phone will take you right there in your car. Get all your premium cigars and accessories today. And then swing in, get back in your vehicle, swing over to 042 Wine and Spirits right there on Highway 80 or West Government Boulevard next to Sonny's Barbecue. Grab you a nice bottle of your favorite bourbon. It's officially whiskey weather this morning.
Officially got there.
I heard the weather report is going to get down into the 40s tonight. I think is the low.
Yeah. My
friend, you know what? Good enough for the girls I date. If it's in the 40s. That's whiskey weather. Yeah. I could justify a hoodie if I got to, and
so
get on.
Do the Ron White cigar in the hand with the
a rocks glass of some whiskey.
That's right.
Like I'm not encouraging. If you have any struggles, don't do that. But if you have discipline and don't overdo things and go enjoy yourself. And 042 Wine and Spirits and Havana Cigars, a match made in heaven right there.
Can you smoke in the, as I said, it's been a minute since I've been here in Mississippi, but can you smoke in the smoke shops as well? Do they have like a little space?
Yeah, I think they have like a little space.
Okay, because we talk about the swamp, right? And that is such a big thing in Washington, D.C. is cigar bars.
Yep.
And that's where like a lot of policy gets done, is people just sitting around smoking cigars in these places like in Alexandria and D.C.
Well, it's where Jody Owens and Chakwe Lumumba and these investors got themselves in trouble in Jackson at Jody Owens Cigar Shop.
It's where the best things happen.
It is. They got a little back room there, and it's where all this stuff went down at.
Yeah.
So interestingly enough, yes, they do have them here in the area. I don't think any illegal activities going on out there at Havana. This is a good God-fearing folks just enjoying themselves and a good cigar, maybe watching a little football.
That's right.
All right, man. The Mazda of Jackson phone line. I would love to hear from folks this morning. If you guys can bring it. 601-879-0002. The Guns and Gear text line is 769-241-1944. We left off at talking about Matt Gaetz coming in as Attorney General. Mm-hmm. And we're going over the Trump appointments this morning. If you're wanting any local stuff, I'm not going to be the show for you this morning. We're going all national. We got some big stories, so we're going to hit them this morning.
It's like our fantasy football. It's like, when we think about it, I'm not a sportscaster. I know you do some sportscasting.
Yeah.
But man, this is like, to me, this is the best time of year for us as radio hosts to talk about who we're going to fit in where and how it's going to fit. It's such an exciting time.
One of my best friends is Jake Wimberly, who hosts a sports show on ESPN Radio here in Jackson in the afternoons on another station. And we were talking yesterday. He said, "Man, you've had quite the week." I said, let me put it in a sports analogy for you. Yeah. Imagine if Mississippi State and Ole Miss were playing each other for the national championship in football. Mm-hmm. The chaos it would be around here. Having Trump win or just the election in general, but Trump winning, and then the mayor and the DA getting indicted. Yeah. All in 48 hours of each other.
That's
the only comparative I could come up with for how chaotic it would be over on Sports Talk versus how it's been here for the last week.
It doesn't get any better.
It doesn't. I mean, you couldn't have asked for a better run. I would have preferred it week after week. But whatever we got, it doesn't matter. We're gonna drain that turnip for all it's got.
That's right.
But all right. So Sean, and I'm not picking on Sean when I say this, but. His thought is, I'm like, we got to go scorched earth. It's revenge tour. You broke the law. Yeah. You got to pay the consequences. I don't care if it's all the way up to Joe Biden.
Right.
Whomever, but especially these lower level thugs.
Right.
That, these state DAs and attorney generals who have been going after Trump with these witch hunt shenanigans, to say the least. Reading laws. Like I think the Letitia James. The laws she went after Trump with. On the bank fraud stuff was actually a law that was put in place to protect little old ladies from phone scams.
They were making up stuff. Same thing with the federal, the Supreme Court threw down a lot of that, right? With trying to interrupt an official proceeding. What are you doing? Yeah. Right? You're making up crap now is what you're doing.
So I think they need to be punished. I think the people who worked for the government who were involved in the Twitter files, the censoring of Americans, I think they need to go to jail. I think a lot of people need to go to jail. And my thought process on it is real quick here, and I'll pass the mic over to you, is that and some people say, well, if you don't stop it, it'll never stop. Mm-hmm. No, I disagree. Because we've gone from Obama to Trump to Biden back to Trump. We have not had we're now 3 presidents in without a consecutive term.
Yeah.
So I think that people are going to realize if there's some consequences and repercussions for your actions, that, hey, the other side could be back in charge in the next 4 years, and I could get in trouble if I do this. I think people are smart enough. Democrats are smart. Democrats aren't stupid people.
Yep.
I mean, there are idiots on both sides.
Yeah.
But strategically, they're smart people.
They have been.
And they're going to understand, all right, we got ours. Mm-hmm. They got theirs. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I'll concede that, but I don't think I am. I think that you've got to punish some people, just like the people in Jackson are about to get punished, and it's gonna send ripple effects.
Right.
That, hey, we got to stop this foolishness because at least for a decade.
Yeah.
Right. Let people let it get off top of mind. Let people forget, should I say, or keep it top of mind that if they F around, they're going to find out.
That's right.
I think that's just the best way that Clay Edwards can say it.
That's absolutely.
I think some examples need to be made, because if you don't make some examples, people are going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Now, that's why I think of Matt Gaetz is great, because he's going to go after these people.
So that's interesting. So it's in regards to Matt Gaetz. So anytime we're talking about these kind of prosecutions, there's the justice side of it, which is what you were just saying, right? We have to do this not for political purpose, but for justice purposes. These guys clearly were in trying to interfere with an election, making up laws to do so. So there's a justice aspect to that. So we just can't allow people to get away with that. Right, that's just not how our society works. We are, in fact, a society, and a society operates on laws, and these people were clearly violating them. That's the justice side of it. But there's also with these, there's always a political side, and I think that's where Sean is kind of he's kind of on the thing. Is it really going to help us politically? But that's one thing interesting, what you mentioned about Matt Gaetz, especially in with a recess appointment, is that if you're going to do this, if you're going to prosecute them, you have to do it very, very early on. So it doesn't potentially become a political liability. Do it now, right? Do it when you first get in there. Right, start those prosecutions as soon as you step in.
America has sent you with a mandate.
Exactly.
And this is what we want.
And that's possibly, again, what you're talking about, like with Matt Gaetz, even if it's only a recess appointment, it's that bull in the china shop. And that could be what Donald Trump is thinking politically, right? Is I'm going to get in there, I'm going to put Matt Gaetz, I know he's not going to last long, but while he's in there, he's going to start these things up.
Because I don't want to delegitimize Matt Gaetz, but a more seasoned, maybe guy that's better suited for the role as Attorney General.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't a political football they want.
Exactly.
So you use Gaetz to get this rolling, to get this done, to set an example. Then maybe he passes the ball off to a guy that's more suited for a 6-8 year run as Attorney General.
Exactly. That could very well, again, what he's doing. Put that bull in the china shop, because politically you want to take care of these things early, so there is not that, you're just doing it for political purposes, right? Just like with Donald Trump. They didn't start prosecuting him until he announced his presidency. Right. Then they put him on, right? That's obviously political. It doesn't get any clearer than that. That's political. So to take that out of it, you get in there, you start it out from the get-go, so it's not becoming a thing in the midterms. I mean, it'll still last until the midterms, but you're starting it ahead of time, putting Matt Gaetz in there to handle it. So it's a very interesting situation from the political side, that maybe that's what they're looking at doing. And again, the problem is that the reason this has never happened is that it could happen to you. But the Democrats open the door. And once you open the door, you can't shut it, right? And it's now open, and they're at the mercy of Donald Trump. And why should Donald Trump give them any mercy?
No. We got a couple of texts here. Frisco says, Matt Gaetz will not be accused of being a rhino or a sino, conservative in name only. Unknown texter says, with all the people that were trying to get Donald Trump in jail, give him the max penalty. That way, the next time someone wants to try that, they will think twice. Yep. Jerry says, AG can appoint a special counsel.
Yeah. Again, the interesting thing is that, again, it's also who you prosecute, right? So people like, Matthew Colnago, right? So if you can remember who that was, he was the lead prosecutor in the case in Manhattan, who was the number 3 guy at the Department of Justice, and then all of a sudden gives it up to be a lowly assistant district attorney in Manhattan.
Yeah, I remember telling Sean about that. He wasn't aware of that. Had to go look it up, and I think it's kind of cemented in his mind a little bit. Oh, you know what? This actually may be a witch hunt. And we're going to be able to go back and see how many times did Letitia James or Alvin Bragg go to D.C., go to the White House.
Yeah, where how involved is Merrick Garland into this, right? Because again, who do you prosecute? It's people like Matthew Colnago, right? He's going to say, or even maybe Jack Smith, they'll say, "Hey, I'm just taking orders," right? It's the whole thing in the military. Hey, you can't prosecute me. I'm just taking orders. So you only prosecute the people who are then giving the orders, which really essentially goes up to Merrick Garland.
Yep. Let's take a call on the Mazda Jackson phone line before we go to break. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Regarding these people, I know a lot of times they have the mindset that, nothing's going to happen to me because I've got qualified immunity and I won't be prosecuted or be held accountable. I mean, does qualified immunity apply to these people in these regulatory agencies?
No. So especially if they're doing things, if you can prove, and qualified immunity only goes certain ways. And you got to realize why qualified immunity exists, right? It exists for the reason of you don't want to prosecute someone who's currently in office because that would just he'd never be able to do his job because he's always being prosecuted by people like Letitia James. That's what really qualified immunity is for. But these people who are now out of office, out of power especially, but even if they were, these are clear violations to try to interfere in an election. The qualified immunity is not going to protect them for that regardless. And they said they'll be out of power too, so it's not going to matter in that aspect either.
Well, I know qualified immunity applies to a lot of people within law enforcement locally. Yeah. And I was just like, well, does that transpose itself to like the FBI or the CIA?
So that's
those officials.
Yeah, I think it applies. That's why I was talking about people with like Jack Smith. They could try to argue that, hey, I'm just following orders. So it's going to be who is the one who made the order, right? It's almost like a military aspect of, all right, well, if you're just saying, hey, I'm just doing what Merrick Garland told me, then Merrick Garland's the person we need to go at, and maybe Jack Smith comes out. But the buck stops with someone, and that person's not going to get that kind of immunity.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, brother.
Well, y'all have a great day. Enjoy the show.
Hey, thank you. All right, we got to take a break real quick. We'll be right back here on the Clay Edwards Show with Matt Bishop. I almost called him Matt Gaetz.
Matt.
Sure, you've been called worse.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back.
Just don't call me Kamala.
Just don't call me Collect. We'll be right back on WYAB. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Y'all don't go anywhere. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here with Matt Bishop on WYAB. This segment brought to you by our friends over at A1 Gear and Auto right over there on Highway 49 South in Florence, Mississippi. Guys, if you're having any troubles with your vehicles, A1 Gear and Auto should be your only phone call or your only the only place you get your vehicle driven to or towed to. They can handle everything. The only thing they don't do is diesel engine repair. But anything else, man, one-stop shop, A1 Gear and Auto. Whether your check engine light's on, your heat's not working, your air ain't blowing cold, your car's running hot, your brakes need replaced, they can do it all. A1 Gear and Auto. Check them out online. Just search A1 Gear and Auto. Big white building, big red sign, Highway 49 South. As soon as you're coming through Richland, it's right there on the right. If you got to Gunner Road, my folks in Rankin County, my folks in Florence know what I'm talking about. If you get to Gunner Road, you went too far. There are the industry leader in your ring and pinion stuff as well, but they can do it all at A1 Gear and Auto. All right, Matt, we got a couple of minutes here, man. Why don't we? I wasn't going to play any audio, but why don't we end the hour with a little bit of Matt Gaetz and Merrick Garland?
Oh, perfect.
And I think it's about a 4-minute video, but I think it really, for people not familiar,
that's beautiful,
with who Matt Gaetz is, I think this is a good introductory to why the left-wing people and the rhinos' hair is on fire. Let's listen to Matt Gaetz drill Merrick Garland. He actually brings up Letitia James and all of these
really?
And Fannie Willis and all that in this video. So here we go.
Right now, will the Department of Justice provide to the committee all documents, all correspondence between the department and Alvin Bragg's office and Fannie Willis's office and Letitia James's office?
The offices you're referring to are independent offices of state.
I get that. The question is whether or not you will provide all of your documents and correspondence. That's the question. I don't need a history lesson.
Well, I'm going to say again, we do not control those offices. They make their own decisions.
The question is whether you communicate with them, not whether you control them. Do you communicate with them, and will you provide those communications?
And just one thing for those that don't know, Merrick Garland is your current Attorney General.
Yes.
Right.
Request. We'll refer it to our Office of Legislative Affairs.
But see, here's the thing. You come in here and you lodge this attack that it's a conspiracy theory, that there is coordinated lawfare against Trump. And then when we say, fine, just give us the documents, give us the correspondence, and then if it's a conspiracy theory, that will be evident. But when you say, well, we'll take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process, then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates?
No.
No, and you didn't, because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't, because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Rule,
right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like, shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing. The defendant,
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
Look, I'm going to say again, it's very clear you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, wait, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you sat over?
Say again, you're asking
yes or no?
You're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the dots, Mr. Attorney General. I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Merchan's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
I'm sorry, I don't agree with anything you just said, but I'm not going to comment on it.
Okay, so you won't comment on it, Mr. Attorney General, but you had no problem dispatching Matthew Colangelo. Who's Matthew Colangelo?
That is false. I did not dispatch Matthew Colangelo.
Matthew
That's
Colangelo
false.
Matthew
False.
Colangelo became the Assistant Attorney General at the very beginning of the Biden administration. Without having been Senate confirmed, goes and gets this senior role at the DOJ, and then after, I believe it's Gupta replaces Colangelo, Colangelo makes this remarkable downstream career journey from the U.S. Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., and then pops up in Alvin Bragg's office to go get Trump. And you're saying that's just a career choice that was made that has nothing to do with the lawfare coordinated by the DOJ.
I'm saying it's false. I did not dispatch Mr. Colangelo anywhere.
Well, do you know how he ended up there?
I assume he applied for a job there and got the job.
But see, you know what?
I had nothing to do with it.
Well, you might not have had anything to do with it, but we've got this contemporaneous evidence in Mr. Pomerantz's book. So Pomerantz writes this book, which I'm sure you're aware of, where he says, we put together the legal eagles to get Trump. We got all these folks together, and we assembled them for that purpose. And so when we on the Judiciary Committee think about attacks on the judicial process, our concern is that the facts and the law aren't being followed. A target is acquired, here, Trump, and then you assemble the legal talent from DOJ, Mr. Pomerantz, and you bring everybody in to get him. And meanwhile, the judge is making money on it. The judge is making money on it, or the judge's family is making money on it for stuff that you yourself wouldn't do. You know, no one's going to buy this. No one's going to believe it. It's going to create great disruption. And I am saddened by it because, like you, I have given my life to the law. I care deeply about the law, and I think that the lawfare we've seen against President Trump will do great damage well beyond our time in public service.
Right.
He's going after him.
Yeah, we're gonna break that down a little bit with our folks listening online during this break here. Radio folks, don't go anywhere. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Matt Bishop. We will be right back.
If he's going in there, he's going after him.
All right,
no doubt about it.
What Matt was just saying is after hearing that exchange that he's definitely going after these guys. And I think that right there is why Matt Gaetz is your current attorney general. Is your next attorney general.
You see
That's
that.
the guy who he's replacing.
Yeah. Well, he's possibly a guy he's going to be prosecuting.
Yeah.
It's funny how those tables turn. He's definitely, after you hear that exchange, he's connected. I think I said Colangelo. I said Colnago earlier, but
yeah, same guy.
Yeah, I mean, think about that though. Like he just said, the ridiculousness of it. Of he goes from number 3 to all of a sudden, assistant district attorney. I assume he applied for a job there. Oh, did he now?
Yeah. I mean, for people who may not really understand what we're talking about here, imagine. I'm going to compare Jackson, Mississippi to New York, so I know there's a bit of a stretch here, but just work with me here. That would be the equivalent of leaving that same number 3 position to come and work under Jody Owens.
Yeah.
In Jackson, Mississippi.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah, everybody wants to go the other way. Nobody comes down.
No,
you go up.
Even like I know Manhattan's funny and like fancy, but that is nothing compared to the job he was in. Like like number 3 and number 4 guy in the Department of Justice.
Yeah.
That is a high position, right?
And you use your federal benefits to get state benefits, and
just the amount of authority and power you have. You have more than even the district attorney. Any district attorney has.
I mean, I want to see a paper trail.
Yeah,
I want to see the financial paper trail.
Oh, this, as I said before, there's bonfires in Washington. Yeah. They're gonna be burning everything that they can. There's not gonna be what you're gonna have is you're gonna have someone who's gonna come forward. They can't lock everybody down. There's always gonna be one person they're gonna turn. That's how any investigation goes.
Sure.
Think about the funny thing about criminals, and I speak as someone who's worked many criminal investigations as a prosecutor is. Criminals, they will always turn on each other. There's going to be one. You just got to find the one.
I mean, you've seen it happen in Jackson.
Yeah, exactly. Just like with the mayor and everything else, right?
You've seen it happen there. You know, here's the thing that blows my mind. As smart as the Democrats usually are, how did they think they were going to get away with this? Did they? It goes back to kind of living up there in D.C. and it being such a liberal vestige, and so many like-minded individuals, around each other, just smelling each other's farts and all that stuff. Did they just really never think that Trump was going to win again, or that a conservative could win again, and that was just?
I honestly think they just could not see it. They thought everybody hated Trump as much as they did, and they really overplayed that, and how much people's hatred for Trump was, and they were really banking on it. Now, they weren't banking on it wholeheartedly. That's why they had to prosecute him. They really wanted to make sure it didn't happen. And so that's what they kind of went all in to try to prevent him from coming in there. But I think they truly believe that how can anyone vote for this guy? Look at him. We convicted him. He's got felonies.
We told you January 6th was an insurrection and that he was like Hitler.
That's right. And he was the guy. And everybody's like, well, I can't put food on the table, so I don't really care.
Yeah, this is going to be, I hope that we get documentaries and historical documentaries about, like, from the History Channel in 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, about how this came unwound. And about, those World War II documentaries about what led up to all of it. I want that kind of documentary from somebody about how all of this happened. Like when the ball got to rolling to when our version of the Nuremberg trials is what I want to see.
Yeah,
happens.
I mean, the strategic failure here is on epic proportions and how much they overplayed their hand. They tried every curveball they could. They threw some crazy ones out there. They were pulling some crazy political stunts, and to try to win this. And again, they just really overplayed their hand and thought too political. I think
so too. All right, guys, we're going to a quick little moment of silence. We're going to come back for a short segment, and here we go. Welcome back in to the Clay Edwards Show here with Matt Bishop. We got a short little minute segment here. Then we got our top of the hour break. We'll be going for 7 minutes for news and commercials. So you guys will enjoy that. We'll probably hang out with the folks online. I can't give them nothing to listen to for 7 minutes.
Just dance.
That's a big ask in the mornings. 7 minutes with nothing. Oh, Matt, I appreciate the conversation there. When we come back, I want to shift to DOJ and to Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
The Department of Government Efficiency with Elon and Vivek together. I mean, talk about a bull in a china shop. Elon's over there just like a pit bull trying to get out of a cage.
He is.
I can't wait to see what he does. So we got a lot on that. And Tulsi Gabbard going from being put on the terrorist watch list to running our intelligence agencies.
Yes.
That's
what I'm very excited about.
And could Kash Patel end up over the FBI? It does look like it's trending that direction. We're going to get Matt's thoughts on that and more. This is the Clay Edwards Show with, of course, Matt Bishop this morning. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on WYAB and, of course, all of our streaming platforms in just 7 minutes. It's always weird trying to hit that landing.
I know.
Like, we're talking about just enough to hit the 40-second mark.
That's why I prefer not to have. I told Matt not to have any no outro music on the thing, so I can just play my own music, so it just hits the hard break.
Yeah.
So that's what I like doing, is just having some music on my computer and just play that. That way I don't have to end at a certain time. If I can end around, because I can play the song up to 2 minutes if I have to, but it's usually about 15 or 20 seconds. I can just let that song play out and hit the hard break.
Kim Wade's got same thing.
Yeah.
It could be a minute or two. He's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Where I come back with that short segment, it's like I got to talk for a minute.
It's hard to time it, and it's just to get it. I'm very proud of myself if I can get it just right on. And you've heard the full story, and then boom, right after. Like, I almost going to give myself a high five. But otherwise, I just have that music in the background ready to go.
I can't do it because of streaming on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
It'll strike me.
Yeah.
With a copyright strike.
Yeah.
For playing music.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't play any music on the show. Like you may hear it on the radio, but it doesn't push over.
Yeah,
like
doesn't go over the thing.
Yeah, the intro music and the bumper music doesn't push over to the online stream.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we broke that down about as well as we could.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we could talk about that for hours, but I think there's going to be a deep autopsy into how all this went wrong by the Democrats. And I think it starts in 2020 when they selected Kamala as the VP because they thought they had to have a black woman. And Joe Biden said, I'm going to pick a black woman.
Yeah.
And so she was.
Same thing with Supreme Court justice. I'm going to pick a black Supreme Court justice.
Yeah. She was by definition, a diversity hire.
Yes.
And
she filled all the boxes.
Except good.
That's it's a nail in the head right there.
And there's a lot of people in D.C. now who are going to be facing a lot of trials and tribulations because of that bad selection.
Yeah.
Now I don't know with Trump winning the popular vote. I don't know that it mattered who they rolled out there. It could have been Shapiro. They could have rolled Big Mike Obama out. I don't think it would have mattered.
Like I said, as I said before, if you take the candidates out, just the numbers, right? The economy numbers are just so horrible. It's hard to win anywhere you get there. And actually, I'm trying to remember the Democrat who said it. I can't remember off the top of my head, but he essentially said, us Democrats, he was talking about how they lost the election. He said, us Democrats, we were sitting around and we were talking about democracy, right? How he's a threat to democracy. What we didn't realize is that if you're sitting there talking about threats to democracy, you must be living a pretty good life. Whereas the majority of Americans, they couldn't talk about threats to democracy because they're talking about how am I going to put food on the table, right? That's what their conversations was. And that's where those numbers go in. The numbers were just so bad, economy numbers, right? The numbers of illegal migrants coming up. All of that stuff was just so bad. Regardless of Trump, regardless of Kamala. Kamala definitely didn't help with who she was. But the numbers are so bad, it was going to be tough for them to get any kind of election.
Yeah. I agree. I think it was Trump, and then just everything that they tried to do to Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Along the way. I was thinking about that on the way in this morning. I was trying to look at it. It is. When we come back, I want to hit another topic real quick before we get knee-deep into the other stuff.
Yeah.
Have you been following all the left-wing journalists leaving X?
Oh, yeah.
Our very own some local folks, Mississippi Today, and some folks over at Mississippi Free Press also have been threatening to leave, and I want to hold them accountable. I want to hold them to it.
Please do.
So we're gonna follow up and see if they've left in live time, particularly Ashton Pittman and some others.
Should give them a call one day. Just hey, you leaving?
Yeah, you left yet? You still here?
Yeah.
Why are you still here? So let's see where we're at on our comeback. All right, I think the intro is going to start after this ad that's playing. I know you guys online can't hear it, but we're definitely going to hit that. And we've got a crazy person in the comments over here, too, that's claiming that somebody stole her cousin's face.
Oh, that
and
happens.
has been living as their cousin's identity.
Who has that not happened to?
I mean, it happens to the best of us.
I know, right? Who hasn't gotten their face stolen?
Yeah. Here locally, like there's some reason to do that to anybody. All right, we're going to take a moment of silence here while the intro plays, and we will be right back here as soon as it stops. Boom goes the dynamite. Did I say that right? The dynamite.
Dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite. We are back. It's the most incendiary show in all of America right here, pumping across the airwaves in central Mississippi on 103.9 FM WYAB, as well as streaming in 4K all day on the Save JXN Facebook, YouTube, and X, as well as the Clay Edwards Show Rumble. Shout out to everybody over on all those platforms, but particularly Rumble. That little crowd is growing and growing and growing. I mean, it's like 200 people watching this thing on Rumble now.
Wow.
And that just blows my mind because it's taken forever to chip away at that stone. I've been uploading videos to Rumble for 5 years to get 1 view, 2 views, but clearly they like live content, and they promote live content. And me and you talk from people say, "Oh, well, 200 ain't nothing." Well, imagine 200 people in your living room.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, when you start like in a live
Yeah,
situation.
if you're like I said, I've been in bands before. If you're in a band, you're in a venue with 200 people. That's a pretty good turnout for you as a band. You know,
you can feel pretty good about yourself.
Exactly.
It means most bands have 4 members. Each one was accountable for 50 people showing up. That's strong.
That's
son.
good.
As a former club owner, if I got a local band that's good for 200 people.
Yeah,
they just became the house band.
That's right. You bring them every week.
Yeah, like how often will those 200 people come back and see y'all?
Exactly.
You're on the once a month, once every 6 week rotation immediately.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of bars and restaurants and good times, guys, we've got so many great food sponsors and live music sponsors here on this show. It's almost an embarrassment of riches, to be honest with you. And they just keep coming on, and we've got another one we're going to tell you about here. I think I may wait till Monday to introduce our next partner. But wow, we've been looking for a high-end foods a food place, and we finally got one.
Nice.
I mean, like a real white tablecloth type establishment. We finally got that now too. Really excited to roll that out. And it's somebody in the city limits of Jackson, which I love, and because it shows that the tide is turning. The more that we're proven right about what was going on in Jackson, the more business owners in Jackson are realizing that we are, in fact, a voice for them, too. And we're not just trying to keep people from coming to Jackson. We're trying to run bad people out of Jackson and get good people to start coming back to Jackson, and people are starting to see that. So y'all stay tuned Monday. In the meantime, one of my other favorite establishments in Jackson, who have been a great supporter for a long time, is Martin's Downtown, and Martin's out here in Livingston. If you're looking for some great live music, live entertainment, go be one of those 200 people to get out and support a great local band at Martin's in downtown Jackson, and let them know that, hey, we support local stuff, we support your national stuff, we love live music. And maybe that ain't your thing. Maybe you get to bed early like I do nowadays. Get down there, grab a happy hour cocktail, watch a little Thursday night football tonight at either location, Livingston or downtown Jackson. It's perfect patio weather. They both got huge patios. They got fans, heaters, all
Now's
that
the
stuff.
time for that.
This is. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Enjoy it, because it doesn't last long here in Mississippi. It'll be February. It'll be January and February, freezing cold here before you know it. The last couple of Decembers have been ice storms. So get out, enjoy this weather on the patios at either Martin's location. And don't forget, man, Blue Plate specials every day. Well, Monday through Friday. And my personal favorite, it's not on the Blue Plate, but it's on the menu from open to close 7 days a week. That's our country fried steak. Swing by, check it out. I think Thursdays is fried pork chop day, but don't hold me to that. Check out Martin's Downtown JXN or either one of their Facebook pages. It's Martin's Livingston or Martin's Downtown. Don't meet me there. Beat me there. Martin's Downtown since 1953, I believe.
1950. Wow.
It's one of our last old school
still there
Jackson establishments. We've lost so many.
Yeah.
We almost lost the Mayflower. But Martin's ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So,
wow. Get 200 people to go fill that place out then.
Yep, exactly. All right, so, man, where do we want to start? What did I say? Oh, yeah, Mississippi Free Press and Mississippi Today.
Yeah.
So there's this big thing going on online, on Twitter, about a lot of left-wing media people leaving Twitter. They're packing their ball in their bag, and they're going home. There's too much misinformation and disinformation on Twitter. Right. And the irony is, if all these left-wing nut jobs leave, there in fact won't be any more misinformation or disinformation.
Maybe that much better of a platform.
Yeah, on Twitter it's going to be. They love to talk about right-wing echo chambers and stuff, but they have gone and started this one called Blue Sky or Sky Blue or some gay nonsense like that
to match their hair.
Yeah, exactly. That's right, blue hairs. So the number one. The number one, I refer to him as the leader of the rainbow supremacy. Oh, okay. That's Ashton Pittman with the Mississippi Free Press. Mm-hmm. He is very, very left wing. I think he wished, allegedly, I believe he wished death on anybody that didn't get vaxxed. I mean, he's one of those guys. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so he's
violently liberal almost.
Violently liberal. He has announced that he is in fact leaving X. It says here, I'm leaving X. But we got a little edit here. But my account will stay up.
Oh, okay.
I may even schedule some posts about important news.
That's not leaving X. You can't. I'm leaving X, but I may occasionally post. What? No, that's not how that works.
No. Go on and delete. Let's see here. I'm going to tell you why he's not going to leave X. He has 52,000 followers on X. And these anger addict, SSRI riddled nut jobs. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's on SSRIs, but if I had to bet money, I bet he's on an SSRI or two. Yeah. These anger addicts, they can't leave. They can't leave where right-wing people are at. And I'm going to be honest, neither could I.
Right.
I deleted my ex the moment, well, it was Twitter then. I deleted my OG Twitter account. I had 10,000 followers. I'd had that account for 10 years. It was Clay601. I deleted that when they announced that Joe Biden when they called the race 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I said, screw it. I'm leaving Twitter. I'm not gonna sit here and be force-fed a lie.
Right.
And I waited about a year. I said, all right, I need to go argue with some Democrats.
Right.
And I tucked my head tucked my chin into my chest, and I went and started another Twitter account.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to an echo. I don't want to be in a right-wing echo chamber.
No.
Like, I've tried the Truth Socials, the Parlors. It ain't for me.
Right.
I want to see other people's opinions. I enjoy the
Makes it more
marketplace of
fun.
ideas.
And hey, like I said, I never want to be so closed-minded that I'm not at least open to other things. I'm saying you can convince me, or at least try to, but I at least want to hear it. I may say you're an idiot, but at the end of the day, I want to at least hear it and at least have some discussion. That's the problem with, and again, we talked about, this kind of also circles back to why liberals, why they lost this election, because they're in those echo chambers all the time. They're not Twitter, but it's our universities. It's those little institutions they sit in, right? Like, universities don't want any kind of dissension whatsoever if you have a right-wing point of view. And therefore, they get these echo chambers. They don't know what's actually going on. You lose that focus. So you need that extra perspective to see, hey, where is the feeling of things right now, to have at least an understanding from a strategic standpoint.
Yep. So it's funny. Marshall Ramsey's another one.
Yeah.
Who is
he's still around? I didn't know he was still around.
He's still doing cartoons. So he announced on Facebook he was leaving X, but he may not delete it. Well, if you're not deleting it, you're not leaving it.
Right. It's like saying, you know what, I'm gonna quit alcohol, but I'm gonna keep one on there, and I may take a drink every once in a while though. But I'm quitting alcohol.
I'm getting divorced, but I'm still gonna live with my ex-wife.
That's even better. Yeah.
No, you're not getting divorced then.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, these people, it's just attention. First off, if you're leaving, just leave. We don't need a damn announcement about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Yeah.
Pack your ball and go home.
Exactly.
That's
just
what
do
I
it,
did.
man.
I didn't announce I was leaving X or Twitter at the time. I just deleted it.
Yeah.
And that was that.
They need that validation though, right? Like, they want to leave it, but they need that kind of validation they get from social media and places like X. They need to see all those retweets and likes that they get from leaving X to give them that validation that they need.
That dopamine hit.
Exactly.
Put it in my veins. Put it in my veins. That's all. Let's just for poops and giggles here this morning.
Yeah.
Before we get back to the serious stuff, let's go back and look at Ashton's post here. And I want to read some of the replies from the fellow blue-hairs clearly on break from their job as a barista in Fondren somewhere. I haven't used my old Fondren barista stuff in a while. My blue hair, Black Lives Matter wearing Fondren barista deal. Black Lives Matter shirt wearing white baristas. Anyway.
Yeah.
You know that it was mostly white, purple hair, Black Lives Matter, BLM shirt wearing, Antifa, Fondren baristas. I used to have a whole about it, but anyway, those are the ones that burned down more black neighborhoods in 2020.
Oh yeah,
than anybody else. You want to talk about the supremacy? That's why I call them the rainbow supremacy.
Right?
They're running around, they're screaming that we're all white supremacists, but they're all these gay, weird, trans, rainbow supporting, flag flying.
Yeah,
I just call them the rainbow supremacists.
Right. And
social media hasn't picked up that that's a slur yet. This is definitely a slur. I'm slurring them. It's definitely a slur, and so it hasn't picked it up yet. So I was interviewing with this guy down on the coast. He's a general, a military general that's got a show down there, a live stream. And and it was about when I kind of went viral back over the summer because I ended up with a picture proving that fat black girl and that fat white girl from the Mississippi Free Press started that fight with the frat boys at Ole Miss.
Really?
And I had the other angle where they were plotting it before it started.
Oh.
And I put them out there, and man, their hair caught on fire immediately. They tried to cancel me, the whole 9 yards.
Right.
While I was doing an interview with this guy. I can't remember, Rob Manass.
Okay.
Rob Manass, Lieutenant or General Rob Manass. And somebody screen recorded and put it out there where I called Ashton the leader of the rainbow supremacy. So now on the top of his, that my video is pinned to the top of his thing, and he's changed in his bio the leader of the rainbow supremacy, trying to take the venom off of it a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've got a big chuckle out of that. So let's go to his Twitter here to his response about leaving. Let's read a few of the people who also said they're going to leave.
Yeah.
Who, if their comments are still visible,
they haven't left.
So we're going to go down here. And let's see, Ashton, it's really just a lot of Ashton talking. He goes, I truly hope we'll stay connected. I value all of you, and I wish it hadn't come to this. I'm trying to take a hiatus from all social media for a while, though you may see some scheduled posts go up on other platforms. I refuse to give in to fear and despair.
He's not giving in.
First off, if you're reporting news, that's not a scheduled post.
Right.
So let's first and foremost. Then he goes, I'm going to be spending time watching movies with loved ones, reading fantasy and reading fantasy and other fiction books, and shooting photos on film. You mean taking pictures?
Shooting photos on film.
Taking pictures?
Yeah.
He goes, I encourage you to spend some time with the people you love and doing the things you love too. Pick up a new hobby or return an old one. Well, he's been writing fiction for years.
That's right.
At the Mississippi Free Press.
That's what he just continue on, yeah.
Yeah, he's been writing fiction. He might as well continue reading some. He also says, so much is out of our control right now, but control what you can and be good to yourselves. Volunteer. Get involved in community organizations. Go to your town hall meetings. Join a book club. Learn a new skill. Just don't lose hope. I mean, the copium after losing the election the other day was so strong. So let's see. We're finally
he's in the acceptance phase of depression. Is that what is going on right there?
So we finally get down to my buddy Pie Coon Dog here, big Mississippi State fan.
Yeah.
Says running away isn't the answer. I didn't run away when Jack Dorsey's minions suspended me. Pearl says why. Jay Smith says goodbye. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Hey Yo says more lying, name calling. Y'all are such nice people. Let's see here. Now here's a sympathizer. Gen X Evangelical says, you have been a light of hope on this app and an advocate for your state.
He's an advocate.
I wish you well. I already follow you under my real name on other apps, but just wanted to affirm your impact and voice here. He said, thank you. Heart emoji.
Heart emoji. He did the waltz. Did he do the waltz? You know?
Oh, yeah. Heart emoji. Let's see here. Mr. Tugboat says trans rights is this guy's name. Mr. Tugboat says trans rights, says, see ya at Sky, Ashton. That's the Blue Sky app I guess I was referring to.
His name is Mr. Tugboat?
Mr. Tugboat says trans rights. I don't even get it.
Okay.
Sean Mitchell says, laughing my ass off. So much joy. Why leave now? The joy is just starting. I'm gonna heart that one.
Yes.
I'm gonna retweet that one. Actually, repost. You know what I love is he's got some trolls in here.
Yeah.
And somebody has posted the screaming "why" guy in the green jacket. With the ski helmet.
Right.
What's it called? Little. What do you call it? Keep your head and ears warm.
The
beanie.
Okay,
beanie. A complete
baklava.
Yeah, beanie. The guy screaming with the beanie on. Then let's see here. Helen, I can't even read it. These people in their Twitter names. Says, same here. Thank you for being a beacon of truth and light. These past few years, I'll continue following and reading, just not here. Well, let's ask her real quick. This was on November 6th.
Yeah.
Why are you still here?
Why
are you still here on 11/14?
Question mark.
Dylan McLemore says, stay in touch and be well. DeLatter says, done. Hope to find you and Donna Ladd there as well. D later. Well, that was November 10th, and you're still here as well. Now, I don't have time to reply to everybody, but anyway, I can sit there here and do this all morning. I'm sure it makes for intriguing radio.
Oh, yes.
But troll these people, mock and meme these people off the internet is what I want you all to do, because I'll never forget how I felt when the day I deleted my Twitter. The day that the AP finally called it and Fox News all stabbed us in the back and called a rigged election for Joe Biden. I said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but for 4 years, I'm not going to shut the hell up.
Okay.
And that's when this radio show started. A couple of weeks later, it went from a podcast to a radio show.
These people have been mocking conservatives for such a long time. I'll never forget walking down. I mean, I kind of did it just to get reactions, but I walked down Old Town Alexandria, which is where all those rich liberals live, right? These suburban white liberals that voted for Kamala. I'd wear my Donald Trump hat down there. It's just down the street, and the amount of looks, the amount of remarks I would get. How can you wear that here? You're sexist, whatever. Wearing that, you're disrespectful to women for even wearing the hat. I was like, I'm just wearing a hat here, man. They've been openly, trying to, openly going after us for all this long. It's time the tables turned.
Yep. Let's take a break real quick. Come back, and we got a couple more, 30 minutes left to go. And we do want to get into these other appointments now. All right, we'll be right back with Matt Bishop, Tulsi Gabbard, Elon, and Vivek up next. All right, somebody asked, Clay, are you really going to be on Rumble? I'm in there now. I'm on Rumble now. We're streaming live on Rumble right now. Samil Zeke on YouTube said, Clay, are you going to get on Rumble? I watch almost everything on Rumble. Yeah, we're streaming live. Just search. It's at Clay Edwards Show on Rumble. So, yeah, please give me a follow there. Never have any problems getting on Rumble either. It's been pretty consistent. I had to pay $10 a month to stream there, but whatever. It's my donation to the free speech platform. And like I said, we're getting 200-300 people viewing these live streams now, so I'll gladly pay $10 to have 200 people watch every day. It's not necessarily, well, it gets lumped in as being conservative, but it's just a free speech platform. And I'm sorry, your mic went on. He was asking what was Rumble, and yeah, Rumble is a kind of a free speech YouTube, but they have their own servers, and everything. They're not on the Amazon cloud.
So they can't be canceled by all those other people. Okay.
They're publicly traded. X is tied in with them too.
Okay.
I mean, they're doing a lot of things. It's kind of like this free speech network now.
Yeah.
X, Rumble, and some others, and there's technologies getting better and better. So, I was talking to you about how to stream, and if I have any people in the audience listening right now who are wanting to get into streaming, and you see this platform that we're using with the split screens and the text on the screen and all that stuff, Rumble offers a free version of that. It's in Rumble Studio.
Oh, okay.
Well, you've got to pay the $10 a month to stream, but that gives you access to Rumble Studio. This costs $40 a month to use this.
Yeah.
I'm just comfortable with it.
Yeah.
And when they first started Rumble, you could only stream to like your personal Facebook page. You couldn't stream to your business page.
Yeah.
I think they got that fixed. I need to go back and check. But either way,
yeah.
If you're wanting to get started and you don't want to, let's say you have 5,000 Facebook friends, but your business page or your like page only has 100. It's hard to get follows and likes there. It really is.
Yeah.
Stream to your personal page. It doesn't matter.
Right.
You can turn that into a digital content creator page and get likes and follows there. You just convert that page to that kind of page.
Yeah.
I say all that to say the barrier to entry has come down and become so easy now.
Yeah.
That you can, because you can take that Rumble Studio and it'll let you stream to everywhere.
You can stream to YouTube and all that.
Yeah, X everywhere, Facebook. You don't have to stream just to Rumble.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah, you don't even have to stream on.
And that's
Rumble,
only for fine. That's not bad. Like I said, you got to pay that anyway for those other
for the other platform.
Yeah.
So and they're working on it. It's getting better and better. I need to go back and check it out honestly because I was thinking about trying to switch over to a different platform.
Yeah.
I'm just really comfortable with this one. I finally got it working right. So I don't know if I want to switch right now, but yeah, the barrier to entry into this. And that goes back to how I felt that day.
Uh-huh.
When I deleted my ex, I felt defeated, but also said, I don't know what I'm going to do my part, but I'm going to commit the next 4 years of my life to being as pro-America and as loud as I can.
Yeah.
And if I want to convert one person over,
I've done something.
Yeah, I've done something. Or if I'm just a voice to let people know it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
And the way I do it isn't through necessarily inspiration. It's through mocking and memeing and insulting the left. And
everybody thinks that you say the things that people are already thinking. It's good to hear. Mm-hmm. I think it's good to hear someone say what you're thinking, even though you may be too scared to say it, and for whatever reason you may lose your job. Yep. There's legitimate reasons why you may not. So it's good to hear someone who's going to stand up and say those things.
That's the number one compliment that I get from people out and about in public is, thank you for saying the things we can't.
Yeah.
And to that I always say, well, if we would all just say it, they can't fire everybody.
That's what I'm saying. That's a problem in this society. We were founded on that ideal, right? That we could all share our opinion, right? Mm-hmm. Without being canceled. And that's, like you said, everybody's just so afraid. I'm hoping after Donald Trump's election, when the vast majority or the majority of people voted for him, that changes. Is that people realize, hey, there's a lot of us out there. In fact, we're the majority now.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's going to be a big deal now with us being the majority. Now, I think that the left was empowered.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were empowered, and with Trump, we're back.
Okay. Welcome
back in to the Clay Edwards Show here with Matt Bishop on WYAB, of course, streaming worldwide, WYAB.com, as well as the TuneIn app. And the Alexa, just search WYAB. We're also streaming in video, 4K. That's what we were just talking about during the break here, all the different ways you can become a streamer. The barrier to entry has gotten so easy nowadays, but we're on Rumble, search at Clay Edwards Show, and we're on X, Facebook, and YouTube at SaveJXN. This segment brought to you by our friends over at, how about Stonington Farm? Today's the last day to get your Stonington Farm order in. They're going to be up here tomorrow. I think you got till about 2, 3 o'clock today to get your order in for the grass-fed beef. It's 100% grass-fed, 100% grass-finished. That's a big thing there, to being grass-finished also. A lot of these places will sell you, like at grocery stores, will sell you grass-fed beef, but it's still not grass-finished.
What is grass-finished?
Grass-finished means they don't eat no wheat, none of that trash, none of that regurgitated stuff they give them that's scraps and leftovers and trash. Literally, you could be eating candy and just all kind of just grinded up garbage, pretty much. They'll do that at the very end to fatten them up.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
But trash in, trash out.
That's right.
That's still not healthy fats, not good fats. If you're eating just all those toxins and just all that other stuff. So it's 100% all organic, basically. Yeah. Organic cows. And, conservatives have made organic a bad word. Because I think we've associated so much with liberalism and organic and the environment. Yeah. And it's not. Organic is really good.
I think it's the liberals who've made it a bad word, right? Because they've politicized these words. I've said that before. These words are supposed to mean good things like diversity. Mm-hmm. They've turned them into bad things. They've put some kind of connotation to it that should never have been there.
Great point. That's a great point. Yeah. We've allowed liberals. Let me say that. We've allowed liberals to make organic a liberal phrase. Like you're a hippie if you're eating organic food. No, organic food is very healthy for you. You need to be eating as organic as possible. Don't let the left wing own these terms. Exactly. And one of the best things you can do is have control over your health. Mm-hmm. That is the biggest way. Andy Frisella, that owns First Form, and he's got one of the best podcasts out there. He's very conservative or libertarian minded anyway. Just really, he's a man's man kind of man. Yeah. And it's one of the things he talks about on his podcast all the time is the greatest way you can fight back as an individual is be healthy. Yeah. Be healthy, have high testosterone levels, eat right, and be ready to go. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean by go?
Absolutely.
Fist up. Be ready to go. And that is the greatest way you can fight back is not be sick, not be stuck on needing their insurance, needing their medicines, needing any of that stuff. Being truly independent and not necessarily off the grid, but off the medical grid.
Yeah, and you just feel so much better. I've been just trying to finish a triathlon, so I've been just running a lot, and man, you just feel so much. I sleep better, and it's like eat healthier, eat those organic things like that. You just feel better too. You have that much more energy. Why wouldn't you want that?
The last month I've been eating like trash. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got a pack of Oreos one day. And it's been a downward spiral, and I made a commitment that I'm done with that. Yeah, I've got my grass fed order coming in. I got to order it today actually, but I'm gonna have my grass fed stuff, and I went and got a bunch of steaks. I can't afford to eat all grass fed. Like I just can't do it as much steak as I eat. Yeah. It's just more expensive. But I can't afford to eat all grass-fed ground beef. I just can't do steak. Right. So I still go. I'm just being 100% with y'all. I still go to the grocery store down there in Pelahatchie. I get the whole ribeyes or whole fillets from there because it's $7.99 and $10.99 a pound. I can't pass that up. Right. But I do get a lot of stuff from Stonington. Uh-huh. But the ribeye is like $20 a pound. I can't do that on a regular basis. I mean, that's a treat right there. That's like Wagyu. I can't eat Wagyu every day.
If only.
Yeah, if only. But I do eat what I can from there, as you should too. It's locally sourced, being from Mississippi. It's grass-fed, grass-finished, and mRNA-free. They don't put any of them injections in them cows. They also no antibiotics and no steroids trying to fatten them up or anything. Yeah. So that is 100% organic beef from right here in Mississippi. You can order yours today, StoningtonFarm.com. That's Stonington with 2 N's.com. StoningtonFarm.com. It'll be here tomorrow. So you'll meet them in Byram, Ridgeland, or Brandon. Turned an ad into a political rant. I didn't mean to.
That's all right. It's just all intertwines, That's the great thing about your sponsors, though. They kind of fit into that message, which I think is a good thing.
It does. Well, it makes it a lot easier. Yeah. I don't know their politics, but I know that what one of the things we should all be doing is be healthy.
Right.
And Robert Kennedy coming on, and I hope, speaking of appointments, I don't know what we're waiting on to appoint him over the FDA or whatever his appointment is going to be. I still think, even if he's not necessarily over a particular, I'll get your opinion on this. Let's talk about Robert Kennedy now.
Yeah.
What do you think he's going to end up being over? Do you think he's just made some kind of health czar versus maybe being over one particular thing?
Yeah, I don't know if he'll necessarily be like a head of a department, like head of FDA or anything like that.
Yeah.
More like some more of an advisory role. Like he'll be an advisor to the president. He could have a title like advisor to the president for health and wellness or something like that.
Well, but I think he's going to have power to
exactly
go in and act.
I think that's the point. Sort of like we talked about Doge a little bit earlier, kind of a similar kind of thing, where it's not a actual department, but he has a lot of pull in what he's going to do. Obviously, he was a big part of the Trump campaign, so that's going to happen. And you guys ought to see what JFK wants too. He's never really said he wanted a cabinet position necessarily.
RFK.
Who did I say?
JFK.
Yeah, RFK. Sorry, JFK couldn't do it. But RFK, he says, but based on what he wants to do with his life, but he's definitely going to have a big part of that health. And Donald Trump said is going to be part of that. So he's going to be a big part of the administration, as he should.
He got a lot of votes from RFK supporters.
Yeah,
and particularly, I don't want to put words in anybody's mouth here, but a lot of our moms here in Mississippi were huge RFK supporters.
Yeah.
Like our Moms for Liberty folks, our Mississippi Parents for Vaccine Rights are big supporters of RFK.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they weren't Trump supporters too.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that there's a lot of people in these little sub-genre groups that were huge RFK guys, and they may have been a little bit on the fence about Trump, but we're probably still going to vote for him just because of the other option was unacceptable.
Right.
But I think that him bringing RFK in was a huge strategic move for Trump. Then, of course, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, and I think that's the point. Is people want that, like in the national, like the NIH, right? Like redoing that, where it's not just this dogma, right, that we've had to accept, or you're a pariah if you don't accept our dogma, and our dogma is the only thing that's correct. Right. Having people like him say, "Wait a minute, let's take a step back here before we start saying all these vaccines are safe and all this other stuff is a must," right? Let's take a step back before we just force this on people. And I think again that's where JFK. RFK. I don't know why I keep saying JFK. RFK Jr. where he fits in.
It's going to be very interesting. I'm really excited about it. You compared it to fantasy football. Earlier, kind of sitting here and guessing these appointments and how they're going to work out. And the RFK piece is going to be very intriguing for me. I know we're going to hit the ones that he's already confirmed, but what are some out there that have not been appointed that you're curious about?
So, obviously we talked about Matt Gaetz. So the next one I think is going to be crucial is the FBI director. There's been some talk about, who that could be. He said to the campaign he wants to get rid of Wray. Wray was obviously an appointee of Trump, but Trump is allowed to make changes as he should. Mm-hmm. I think as someone who could see that. Because that person is obviously going to be also heavily involved in any investigations into these people that we talked about earlier. Does he pick someone like does he pick another firebrand? Not quite to the level of Gaetz. Or does he pick, is that the one he picks where I'm going to pick someone who's a very, dedicated, federal prosecutor, someone we may not even heard of yet, who's been an attorney general for a long time or wasn't a U.S. attorney for a while, who can do great investigations. So to me, that's going to be the next one that I'm more interested in.
I'm with you. I think you've got to, at least in the short term, you got to clean house.
Yeah.
The FBI clearly has got some rotten apples over there. I think that's why I think a Kash Patel he's a firebrand. Yeah. I get it. I mean, he's on all the podcasts. All the conservatives, MAGA loves Kash Patel.
Yeah.
We're talking about fantasy booking. We're talking about dream appointments. If you're OG MAGA, even like going back to the QAnon stuff.
Yeah.
If you're OG that area, you're hoping and dreaming Kash Patel gets to be the head of the FBI because he's going to go in there and he's going to remove He's going to cut out those cancers that are in the FBI.
It's interesting you said it because I was just looking at Gaetz had a social media post just hours before he was announced, and he said full court press against a weaponized government that has been turned against our people. And he added, if that means abolishing every one of the 3-letter agencies from the FBI to the ATF, I'm ready to get going. So, he's ready. I mean, that tells you right there, he is ready to clean house. So it's, if like I said, they plan to have Gaetz in there at least temporary, you got to find an FBI director who's going to be able to work with Gaetz on that. So maybe that means you also need to have a temporary, kind of like a team, I think, maybe a Gaetz and FBI director team. So they're going to be working hand in hand.
Like a Delta Force.
Exactly.
A SEAL Team 6 to go in there, extract
extract
all the negative out,
right,
and get and really go in there. They don't care. They can go in. They can burn bridges. These are not going to be career leaders of these departments.
Right.
They don't care if they go scorched earth.
And maybe it's time. I think it is time to have those different, take out those career people in there. Yeah. It's just like you said, to change, to have those new thoughts, those new ideas to come in to make the agencies better, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, right? Things like the FBI, the history of the FBI. I don't want to go too much of a tangent, but just real quick. When the FBI was first founded, or before that, a lot of senators at the time had a very big worry of a federal law enforcement agency. One did not exist. They were like, "What do you mean? You need a federal, you want federal agents to carry guns into our states?"
It's like thinking about IRS agents having guns now.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, wait a minute. And I was like, what are you talking? This is a way overreach of federal power to have federal law enforcement agents. And at the time we were battling gangs and things like that, so we kind of needed a federal law enforcement agent, but they were afraid of those kind of agencies being used for political purposes.
And when you're talking about gangs, you're talking about
mafia
gangs.
Right.
Yeah, I just wanted to clear that up for people. We're talking about Scarface, Al Capone.
Yeah.
Stuff
Those
of that
guys,
nature.
right? They were going state to state, so it kind of made sense at the time. But the senators, especially Southern senators at the time, were like, can this not be used as a Gestapo? Well, the Gestapo didn't exist, but like a political arm of the government,
which it's turned into.
And those fears have started to become realized over the last few years. So, we need to get back to that. Get back to the FBI investigating. As I said, when I talked about Gaetz earlier, I said let's put justice back in the word of Department of Justice. Right? Yeah. Let's start getting after those. We have human traffickers coming over. We have all this fentanyl coming over the border. Let's get back to that instead of talking about moms and their school boards.
I like it. Let's talk about that on the other side of the break and more. We got one good long segment left. Radio listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back. Online viewers, we're not going anywhere. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Matt Bishop.
I just saw that media post from Gaetz. Like, that's interesting. This is right.
What does it say now?
About abolishing the 3-letter agencies he has to.
Yeah.
I got hot. You're good.
No, cool.
If we can touch on Tulsi Gabbard, though.
Let's touch on Tulsi when we come back. Definitely. I want to understand that position a little bit better.
Yeah.
So. It's
a very important position. I think it's one she probably really wanted when she started this thing. But
deals are obviously made for support.
They have to be, right? I mean, that's not new, right? So in the old days of the old type of conventions, right? We didn't have this whole primary system like we have now. Like, delegates literally went to a convention and they argued it out who was going to be the nominee, right? And there's a lot of talk, going back to the 1860 nomination of Lincoln, which was a very hotly contested Republican National Convention.
And that would sound like brokered convention kind of comes in.
Yeah.
You broker, which means work deals.
And a big part of that was, okay, if I support you, am I going to be on the cabinet, right? These people, that was kind of the.
And I bring my followers, and it's just like now when you have these primaries and as you knock people off, they move their support over to one person to one person.
And that's that's been a part of the American political system probably since the get-go. I know at least since the 1860s, but I would imagine the stories we have from the 1860s, but I imagine even before then. It's just the way politics works. But again, the thing is that Trump surrounded himself with great people, right? So it's not like it's like nepotism or something to give it to them, because he wouldn't have allowed bad people to join him on the campaign trail because that would have been good for him. You know, he wanted people to join him who was smart, who was intelligent, who could help his campaign. And again, people who he knows is loyal. Which, you know, the Democrats use that. It's like, oh, he just wants to put loyal people around him. Yeah. Why wouldn't you? You know, well, I want loyal people around me too. I want people I can trust. Exactly. You know, that's not a bad thing.
I know it's been funny watching the left acting like having dissenters in the cabinet are a good thing.
Yeah. It's like,
they're like, oh, it keeps democracy. No, it creates chaos.
Yeah. I mean, you can be loyal and still disagree. Yep. Right. Those are two separate things, right? I don't have to have the same opinion to you to still be loyal to you, right? As a leader. In fact, I would be more loyal to you if you accepted my dissenting opinion or I could freely discuss it. You know, you can tell me to go pound Sam. That's okay. But I know I have that freedom to speak with you about it. They think those two things are mutually exclusive and they're not. You can easily have both. And, we'll talk about Tulsi Gabbard when we come back, but I think that's a great example of that. I mean, she is not someone who is a traditional conservative. She's had very liberal positions in the past.
Well, I think you're seeing, Sean and I talk about this a lot, you're seeing clearly, I'm not breaking news here, a shift in the conservative party. It's really not. We're a third party that hijacked the Republican Party.
Well, the way I like to think of it is it's really the Republican Party returning to its roots. I think the Republican Party was hacked in the 2000s by like the Bush-style Republicans.
That's a great point.
So, we get back on?
Yeah. Guys, we have about 15, 20 seconds of silence here. We're coming back from commercial break now. Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show here with Matt Bishop on WYAB. Don't forget, Matt is the host of The Full Story. If you've enjoyed Matt's input this morning, you can listen to him live 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. right here on this very channel on 103.9 FM. Matt also podcasts his show, so if you miss any of it, you can go back and listen to it. Just search The Full Story on all audio podcasts.
It is the first one that comes up. I've checked in on all of them. You search Full Story, it's the first one. So.
Full Story, Apple, Spotify, all those great places, Podbean, I assume, just all of them.
Yep.
That's The Full Story with Matt Bishop. But just search The Full Story if you enjoy the national politics. Matt really takes a deep dive into it, a la the name, The Full Story. Very apropos name.
Yes.
All right, this segment brought to you by two of our great sponsors. I'm going to make it quick. Guys, you need to sell a vehicle. Just need to get rid of one. Maybe you have found a used vehicle that you're going to buy from an individual, but you got to sell yours first so you can go make all that happen. Swing by Ellis Autoplex. Let Casey and the team buy your vehicle today. Whether car, truck, SUV, they're going to make you a fair market value offer based on what the market's doing right now. They're not trying to get over on you or anything like that. They can give you a roundabout estimate of what they'll pay for it if you email over or text over all your information. But at the end of the day, to get a legitimate number, they need to touch the vehicle. They need to, make sure there's no leaks, this, that, and the other, drive it, all that good stuff. Make sure nobody's hiding anything from them or unintentionally hiding. Maybe there's something wrong with it you don't even know. Let them touch the vehicle, make you a fair market value offer on it. If y'all agree, they're cutting you a check on the spot. Boom. It doesn't matter if you owe money on it or not. They'll get all that worked out with your lender. Also, so that's Ellis Autoplex, Highway 471, Brandon, or Flowood, Mississippi, technically, right over there across from the back porch, Crawfish Place, and everything down on the Lakeland, the Highway 25 end to 471. Ellis Autoplex. Shop them online, ellisautoplex.com. Also, Boykin Contractors, based out of Florence, Mississippi, but of course, they'll come to you. They do construction, roofing, remodeling, additions, and repair, and they do it all over the metro area. They got tons of satisfied and repeat customers. They're licensed, bonded, and insured with the Mississippi Board of Contractors. Bryce Boykin operates as a Christ-centered company with honesty and integrity. You can find them online. Just search Boykin, B-O-Y-K-I-N, Contractors on Facebook, Google, etc. I could give you their phone number. You're not going to remember that. Just Google,
Just Google it.
Boykin Contractors, Florence, Mississippi. Boom. It's all going to pop up. All right. One thing I want to hit before we get out of here. Tulsi Gabbard.
Yes.
The mic is yours, my friend.
Thank you. So obviously, one of the big, Trump's obviously Gaetz was the big one, but one of the other ones that they came in was yesterday. He announced that he's appointing Tulsi Gabbard to serve as Director of National Intelligence, which is a huge position in there. Of course, Gabbard was a Democratic Congresswoman from Hawaii from 2013 to 2021. I talk about her a lot on my show because I also lived in Hawaii during that time. I lived in Hawaii, and she is a true I mean, I don't think you have more of a true warrior than this, than what she's had to go through after leaving the Democratic Party. She left in 2022. They put her on the terror watch list. She couldn't even travel without agents following behind her. And she became a great ally for Donald Trump, even being the vice chair of his transition team. So she's been right there helping pick all these people we've been talking about. She's been integral in those decision-making process. Of course, she's also an Army veteran. She served in Iraq, a couple deployments over there. And I think she's still currently an Army reservist. But again, this is the person, the Director of National Intelligence. They lead the U.S. intelligence community. They are the top person, which includes overseeing the National Intelligence Program and advising the President on security matters. So when she's confirmed, she will advise Trump, the National Security Council, and the Homeland Security Council. So this is a extremely important position, especially as the world, as we see it now, how it's been slowly devolving with all these different wars. As we get this intelligence from places like Iran, who are obviously enemies to us, trying to kill Donald Trump, including intelligence here in the United States with any kind of domestic threats, or even intelligence on again what any of these people try to do to Donald Trump. So she is an excellent pick for that, because she has the amount of courage and integrity that she has. It's just remarkable. You know, she stood up when everybody else, when all the other Democrats were wholeheartedly behind them. She's like, wait a minute, something's wrong here. And was able to step back from that and to have that courage, which I think is something you need in someone, the Director of National Intelligence, someone who has that courage and integrity, and someone that Donald Trump can trust. Again, we talk about that loyalty, and she has shown that loyalty. So I'm very, very excited about this pick. The Democrats absolutely hate her now. They can't stand her, but she should absolutely have no problem getting into becoming the Director of National Security. Because again, she has the qualifications, she has that loyalty, and this is one that I've been extremely excited to see.
Me too. And the Democrats should be wrapping their arms around Tulsi as having one of their own inside the Trump administration, but they're too arrogant to do that. Oh, no, she disagreed on one thing, so therefore she's the enemy. And that's when the Democrats do a full autopsy of what's happened to themselves. Yeah, they're going to have to look at that one thing the most, that everybody does not have to agree on everything in your party to be a part of your party. No, and that if you can agree 99.999% of the time, but if you disagree 1.1 on anything they say because they're so virtuous, you're not part of it anymore. Yeah, you're trash. You got to go.
And there's no better example of Tulsi Gabbard in that regard. Like literally,
Joe Rogan.
Exactly. Yeah, Joe Rogan as well. I mean,
it was funny after the election, the Democrats were coming out once they realized, oh crap, the Joe Rogan, the Manosphere podcast world, is getting a lot of credit for putting Trump over the top. Yeah, which I still think it's all economy, but whatever. I'll gladly, as part of that on a local level, that Manosphere podcast, right, or whatever they want to call it, the Brosphere. I like to think we're a part of that anyway. Yeah. We'll take credit for it, but they came out and they said, we need our own Joe Rogan. Well, you had one. His name was Joe Rogan.
That's right.
You had your own Joe Rogan. You had your own Tulsi Gabbard. You had your own RFK.
You had all of these people were in here, but because of your policies, you completely ostracized them, and they ostracized the American people. Like that, those people, like you just mentioned, they're like a microcosm, right? Mm-hmm. But they represent a larger part of society. The same thing has happened to them. And you can see why
they probably represent a couple 100 million people.
Absolutely. From the female perspective, from Joe Rogan's perspective, from the Democrat, from JFK, it's all there. And they wonder again why they lose this election. Well, look at why those people joined Donald Trump. Look at why Tulsi, why JFK Jr., why RFK Jr. God damn, I'm gonna get it soon. I'm gonna get it right soon. But why they eventually joined them.
We got some breaking news.
Oh, okay.
It's going to sound like I'm being sarcastic. I am not. This is real. This is not The Onion.
Okay.
The Onion just bought InfoWars in bankruptcy court.
Really?
So I don't anticipate Alex Jones going anywhere. Yeah. I believe that they will keep Alex Jones at InfoWars. Y'all know he got sued for $1 billion, right? In another
the largest lawsuit in history.
Yeah. So I don't think Alex is going anywhere. I think Elon had a lot to do with that because, Elon bought X because The Onion got banned from Twitter. Mm-hmm. That's how Elon ended up buying X. Now The Onion pays it forward by buying InfoWars out of a bankruptcy court from a sham trial. This is phenomenal. I know a lot of people locally don't care about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But you should.
Again, this is how things are changing.
Lawfare.
How things are changing. It's about time. People are ready for this.
Yep.
After so many years of everything being dominated by one side, the perspective being dominated by one side, we're finally ready to move back into some common sense.
Let's take our last break. We'll be right back to land the plane for the day with Matt Bishop on the Clay Edwards Show.
Sorry, I forgot we had one more break.
I want to stay on the online during this last break because I want to talk about this. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
The Onion buying. I know it's LOL the Onion, right?
Yeah.
But if you think back to how we got to this point with Elon buying X, it's extremely important. They tried to shut InfoWars down because Alex Jones has a huge megaphone, and it's not for them.
Right.
That's why that was done.
And then try to bankrupt him,
right?
Yeah.
Literally. And I think you're going to see a lot of that get peeled back, too, potentially over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see a lot of interesting things get undone. I think all of Trump's felonies will go away.
Oh, yeah.
All of this goes
They
away.
couldn't survive regardless.
and what's going to be great about that is you're going to see those felonies flip to the people who gave them those felonies are going to end up felons.
Yeah. Well, Jack Smith is already putting in his resignation. I think I saw that yesterday. He's getting ready to hightail it. Maybe he can make it to Canada before.
He's looking for some citizenship somewhere else right now. Who doesn't extradite?
Exactly.
I'm very excited about the Onion buying InfoWars. And I don't watch a whole lot of InfoWars anymore. I mean, I follow Alex. I've always been an Alex Jones fan. He's entertaining.
Right.
But he does have some good information. I mean, you get it wrong. Or you do this. You talk as much as we talk. You get stuff wrong every now and then.
Yeah.
That's why I don't investigate stories people send me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, look, I react to the news. I don't want to create the news.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to be in, but again, that's one of the things that's really frustrating me with the media is this idea of investigative journalism only going one way too, right? Investigative journalism, you're great to be an investigative journalist, but only if you're investigating Republicans, right? If you try to dive into, like, any good journalist would be like, yeah, that's kind of weird. Is what's that guy's name? That's not Canagello, whatever they said it was. That's a very weird thing that would happen. Maybe I should do some FOIA requests to look into exactly how did he get over there, right?
Yep.
Maybe ask some questions, right? That's what good investigative journalism does.
Well, that's why I love what the guy James O'Keefe, formerly with Project Veritas, does. Like, it's legitimate investigative journalism.
Yeah,
and he's investigating the Democrats, and that's why they're trying to. That's when they had the FBI raid his house.
Exactly.
Because he ended up with the Ashley Biden diary, or reported on the Ashley Biden diary.
Yeah.
Because it talked about Joe Biden doing things that they didn't find appropriate.
Yeah.
So very interesting.
Again, that also circles back again to to Gaetz and the FBI director and all that stuff. How at least that's going to change to where maybe we can have a free media again, right? I mean, as someone who, like I said, who went to journalism school and learned journalism ethics, and they tell you how important your job is as a journalism to the American people, and I still believe that, right? As journalists, you have a key goal to the American people to report the truth.
Yep.
Somehow that was lost along the way.
So, somebody, Lane, is saying over here that the news is saying the Onion, along with families of Sandy Hook, partnered in purchasing InfoWars. I mean, I don't doubt what Lane's saying being true. I'd find that quite interesting because the Onion's been pretty big supporters of free speech, and they wouldn't exist on Twitter. Twitter wouldn't exist in the current realm that it exists in. So, look, I'm going to dive into all that. I think that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
Because I can assure you the Onion didn't just buy the InfoWars to not use it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't see Alex Jones going away. I mean, he's still Alex Jones. I don't care if we call it InfoWars or not.
Yeah, the Daily Beast is the one that has it. I was just Googled it real quick. Yeah, those the Daily Beast. I'm looking at AP News. AP News is not saying that.
I've got. Oh, we're back.
Okay.
No, we're almost back. I'm sorry. Yeah, I've got from New York Times here.
No, so the AP News is saying the satirical news publication The Onion won the building for Alex Jones InfoWars in a bankruptcy auction backed by families of Sandy Hook Elementary School students who Jones owes more than $1 billion in defamation judgments.
All right, welcome back in for our last little short segment here, about a minute. got a lot of news to uncover, a lot of news to look at today. This Alex Jones thing, it is saying that the Onion partnered with the families of Sandy Hook victims to buy InfoWars, which that would obviously completely throw out any suggestion I made previously about this being a good thing, because the Sandy Hook families have been very anti Alex Jones, obviously. So anyway, we'll take a look at that, and I'll talk more about that tomorrow, or maybe I'll talk about that on one of my digital platforms, and maybe Jameson will have more on that. Matt Bishop, thank you so much for chiming in today. It's been a fun one.
Thanks for having me on, man. This has been great.
And who knows where all this goes over the weekend with the rest of these appointments.
Yes. Every day is exciting. It really is.
All right, guys. Y'all stay blessed. See you tomorrow. Peace out.
Sorry, I was just reading that AP News story. Jones isn't even trying to fight it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate everybody. We'll take a dive into everything. Y'all stay blessed. And I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Y'all be sure to tune into the radio station, 103.9 FM, and check out Matt Bishop at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. If you enjoyed what he brought to the table today, he does that every day right here on WYAB, Monday through Friday. Peace out.